Chapter 147 of the Frieren Manga is here, and while there's some good and bad news, the good news is that we finally get a look at the backstory of Löwe in this chapter. Unfortunately, the bad news is that the manga will be going on another hiatus again. Although it is a temporary hiatus, as the story is still being written. It is mainly due to health issues for the creators, and this allows them to rest some more, which is a good thing overall. So hopefully, they're doing alright now, and get better soon. With that said, I'm gonna just get started with the chapter, which opens with our color page of Löwe, standing on the roof, stating that everything is going according to plan. We see a brief montage of all the battles playing out so far, like Ubel versus Routine, Land versus Iris, and Rolos talking with Falsh. Lastly, we get a shot of the Frieren party finally on the move. As Löwe gazes up at the stars, he does admit that it's surprisingly peaceful up where they're at. His mentor asks if Löwe is specifically looking at the evening star, and the warrior confirms it. The star reminds him of his hometown in the southern lands. In the past, they would both gaze up at the night sky together. His mentor calls him Held, which is actually his true name and means hero in German. He believes Löwe shouldn't shoulder everything on his own, and that he's been a failure of a mentor. Löwe disagrees and tells him not to call him Held. This may be their last night together though, and it's specifically because of that reason why they must keep their identities unknown. He will be known as Löwe, and his mentor will be known as the old man who serves him. Everything they've done, their achievements and identities, will not be recorded in history. What's about to happen might not even be considered an achievement in the first place. Humans and demons alike will lose their mana, and the world will be rid of magic. The laws will revert back to what they were before the mythical era that Zeria is from. That's all that will happen. Magic has been the cause for each and every life-changing moment in Löwe's life. His first encounter with magic was when he was very young, when his brother died, protecting him from a stray shot. One single arrow from a barrage of light was all it took to instantly take his brother from him. While the southern lands were far from the northern area of the continent where the demons roamed, it was a battleground for mankind instead. Magic for them was simply another tool to kill people. Even dying to crossfire in a street fight was just another day to them. It was the sort of thing that could happen to anyone. That's how horrible his homeland was. The second time Löwe encountered magic scarred him for life, and we can see a giant pillar of light coming down from the night sky. Overnight, his town was completely eradicated. All that was left was destruction, and he couldn't even find his parents' corpses. Well, according to some of the adults, bodies were found, but they were too deformed to possibly show to a child. Even more shocking to Löwe was that a tragedy such as this was labeled as nothing but collateral damage. We then get a brief look at Minus, almost confirming that she really did play a huge role in tormenting the southern lands. Apparently, the magic used in the war could no longer be considered under humanity's control. Löwe was so broken by everything that he just stood there. Hours and days went by. He didn't know how much time passed, or cared to know. People tried to get him to leave that place, but bro would not budge. At some point, all the adults gave up and abandoned the place, leaving him in silence. However, something happened that caused him to look up. When he did, his eyes caught a glimpse of the collapsed statue of Himmel the hero. At that moment, he began to remember stories of the hero Himmel that his parents would always share to him. Himmel was a great hero that everyone wanted to be, even Löwe. The boy found himself going to the statue and desperately trying to lift it back up. He knew it was pointless, but to him, even the statue of a hero who brought peace to the world doesn't deserve to remain fallen in a destroyed place like his hometown. It was still a futile act, as nothing would change, even if he did lift the statue. Yet, the hero Himmel in those stories would never have just stood around dumbfounded in a place like this. We see Löwe struggling to hold the statue up when a man in a cape arrives, offering to help. That man is the same old man who becomes his master. At the time though, it was simply a coincidence that they met here, but even so, that statue is what ultimately brought them together. They seem to get the statue upright again, and the man gives Löwe something to drink before asking if he likes Himmel too. Himmel had also inspired him to be a warrior that protects their land. He then apologizes for arriving so late, but doesn't ask for forgiveness. In fact, Löwe can blame him if he wants. However, the boy just looks at the warrior for a moment, and I really love the way his eyes are drawn, and how depressed it makes him look. Löwe actually figures that the warrior must have been fighting to protect others, somewhere far away, so he's done nothing wrong in his eyes. He has a good point, but the warrior is saddened that a child his age is already capable of saying things like that. Apparently, he was also friends with Löwe's dad, having been at their place a few times. For Löwe, the pain, desire to help, and frustration are something they both share. However, the warrior once again points out how this isn't the way a kid his age should be taking all of this. Basically, the violent environment Löwe grew up in has clearly forced him to mature way earlier. As for the warrior, his name is Löwe, which Löwe eventually learned later. It turns out that Löwe was actually the strongest warrior in the southern lands at the time. He had wandered through so many battlefields and accomplished so many victories. Yet, in the lands that was filled with constant warfare, all it took to defeat this invincible warrior was being absent to one battlefield. No matter how strong one person may be, in the end, they're still just one person. Still, his eyes shined with unbreakable determination, as if there was something he could never give up on. As they walk through the rubble, Löwe states that it's practically a hell in the southern lands. He believed that if he kept fighting like this, that maybe one day, some hero would show up and bring upon peace in the southern lands. Sadly, you can't just rely on other people to come help save you. Löwe then speaks with determination that if he truly wishes for peace, then he will have to accomplish it himself. That's what the hero Himmel would do. Then the chapter ends with Löwe thinking to himself, realizing that perhaps the statue of Himmel and the story of the hero who never gave up may have been what rekindled Löwe's determination. I'm guessing next chapter we'll get the next part to the backstory, like probably where Löwe faces Minus, and we actually get to see what happened there. I really do like how this chapter really characterized Löwe and explained why he really wants to get rid of magic. It's one of the few times we see magic ruining lives rather than saving it. Kinda like what happened to Frieren, except she was also saved by magic. Löwe was saved by a warrior and knew only of the horrors magic had caused. Löwe was hoping for a hero to show up one day and save the southern lands, but little did he know that he was talking to that hero already back then. I also really like how Löwe looks up to Himmel, which creates an interesting dynamic with Frieren, who traveled with Himmel and has also grown to be motivated by him as well. My main question now is how exactly does Löwe plan to get rid of all magic in the world? Killing Zerial alone won't solve that. In fact, this could backfire if Sherlock's or Toad's plan for the demons in the future come to fruition, as some of the strongest elves would be dead. He would have to completely remove magic in order to prevent the demons from coming back into power and causing more chaos. But yeah, how do y'all feel about Löwe so far? Let me know in the comments, and as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please drop a like and subscribe. I got some more Frieren content here too that you can check out for now. Peace.